This is News 8 Now this morning.
To be able to provide a program that trains individuals with that compassion and caring is critically important to healthcare in our region.
HorseSense offers a scholarship program where we discount the rate of tuition to make it affordable for them to ride, because we really believe in making our lessons accessible to everybody.
I work on programming how it works, and when I actually see it working, it really makes me happy. So like just making accomplishments and being able to work with robot.
We try and evolve some things, but not make too many drastic changes. We try and really be intentional in the investments that we're making in the exhibits.
Good morning, everyone, and thank you for watching News 8 Now. I'm Sophia Pullman.
And I'm Derek Sibley.
It is Monday, February 27th. Happy Monday.
Happy Monday, but last Monday of the month, though, here in February.
True, very true.
Yeah.
February went fast.
It did. It's a leap year, and we're going to move right into March. So. Let's take a look at weather, because we got some rain here moving in right now across the area, and you probably noticed it here as it's probably knocking on your front door, getting ready for that morning commute as you head out the door. So probably a good idea to pack that umbrella, rain jacket, or whatever you need to stay dry here as this rain continues to move towards the north. And a lot of it's really focused mainly down to the south, as you can see, mainly across our southern zones. We're seeing the majority of that heavier rain that continues to move in. Now, if we go a little bit further to the north, you can see some of that rain mixing here with a little bit of freezing rain and or winter mix, especially off to our central and northern zones. We are seeing winter weather advisories in effect till noon today for those highlight zones. Winter storm warnings in effect until 6 p.m. across our northern zones. Jackson County, you're also under this until noon today. Meanwhile, here's what we got here for the rest of the planner. We're going to be looking at rainy conditions through at least 1 o'clock. Some of that rain may try to mix or transition to a wintry type of mix, again, mainly across our northern communities. We'll talk about that coming up a little bit later in the full weather forecast, and also expect a little bit of a mild day today. We'll talk more later. Sophia?
Thanks, Derek. Let's get to some news this morning. Losing a loved one is never easy, and being unprepared can make that even harder. To help, the Good Shepherd Lutheran Church is hosting its Before the After event on March 6th from 10 a.m. until noon. There, people will help you prepare obituaries, power of attorney, and wills. Residents of Wisconsin, Minnesota, and Iowa can attend, but registration is required. You can find the link to their website at news8000.com. Spring is almost here, and HorseSense is looking for a new herd of volunteers. Based in La Crosse, it's a therapeutic horseback riding program for those with or without disabilities. Spring session in the barn starts up on March 13th, and they're looking for volunteers to start up the program. The executive director says their goal is to make horseback riding available for everyone.
HorseSense offers a scholarship program where we discount the rate of tuition to make it affordable for them to ride, because we really believe in making our lessons accessible to everybody.
There are plenty of roles for volunteers to take on. Those include being a horse leader, helping with lessons, and assisting the riders. And you don't need horse experience to help. If you'd like to learn more or sign up, we've posted a link on our website, news8000.com. And over at the La Crosse Area Heritage Center, history fans got to learn about a La Crosse celebrity. George Pogue, whose name you may recognize from Pogue Park in La Crosse, was the first African American to medal in the Olympics. He was a graduate of La Crosse High School who attended UW-Madison and won Olympic bronze twice in 1904. Dr. David Waters gave a talk on Pogue at the La Crosse Area Heritage Center. He says in history, the little things matter.
It's like a little stream going on and on and on, that little things we can do in his honor. We can't do great things like Martin Luther King, but we can do small things great.
Waters is a leading scholar on the history of George Pogue and his special accomplishments. At the weekend event, he shared details about Pogue's life and presented his new research to guests. 24 years of fun. The Children's Museum of La Crosse celebrated their birthday with a party Saturday. Kids from ages 1 to 12 and their parents got to celebrate with hands-on fun, crafts, and a free concert. The museum has been around for a while, and organizers say things have changed over the years. That helps keep it fresh for families.
We try and evolve some things, but not make too many drastic changes. We try and really be intentional in the investments that we're making in the exhibits.
If you are interested in stopping by the museum, it is open from 9 to 5, Tuesday through Sunday. It's week 0 for robotics students, giving them a chance to get in gear for the season at Sparta's Meadowview Middle School. High schoolers on robotics teams all work together in different teams, working to design, build, program, market, and drive their robot. One Holman High School senior says it's exciting to watch it all come together.
I work on programming how it works, and when I actually see it working, it really makes me happy. So like just making accomplishments and being able to work with the robot.
The robots are judged based on how it performs and how well it fits the rule book. Over 54 different high schools have participated. 28 talented 5th graders got the chance to hang up their artwork at a local vineyard on Sunday. The artists themselves got to pay their artwork a visit. This creative group of 5th graders are from Prairie View Elementary School. For the past couple months, they have been working on creating original animal pieces using colored pencil and paint. One 5th grader said she chose her animal after seeing it in a wild animal themed calendar.
My art piece is a lynx, and it's just made out of plain tempera paint and colored pencils. I'm really happy because I love when people see what I do.
And the Prairie View art teacher Amy Wink says she couldn't be more proud of her students.
This is just a great place to display student work. So many people come to El Morro every week to enjoy the atmosphere and to have their artwork on display here. All these people admiring it. It's such an honor for these kids to have their work on display at a place like this.
El Morro Winery features artwork from new artists every month. On Wednesday, a conversation on education will take place. La Crosse School District Superintendent Aaron Engel and Biz News publisher Vicki Markinson will talk about enrollment budget issues and community relations in a public conversation this week. That program runs from 7 to 8 p.m. at the Lunda Center at Western Technical College. Anyone in the public can attend, or you can join virtually. We have more information about the event on news8000.com. Still ahead on your morning news, the latest Walmart recall that can cause burns and cuts, and how a Minnesota town may be a blueprint for how to fix the nation's childcare crisis. That and more coming up in news this morning. For now, we're sending you to break with something to put the good in your morning. A small town community came together to honor its local heroes 2 months after 11 families lost everything in a downtown fire in Spring Grove. The community is rallying once again. The 7 area fire departments who helped were honored, and so were the area electrical workers and volunteers. The families who lost their homes have been relocated thanks to help from the city. Don't go anywhere. Your consumer news at News 8 Now this morning after the break.
Well, good morning, everyone. Welcome back. We're still tracking the rain here, moving in across our southern communities, especially because that is where the majority of the heavier rain is now focused. But this continues to lift towards the north and mixing here at times across our central communities in the form of some freezing rain as well. And this will continue to march north. As you can see, radar showing some of this mixing here together across our northern communities too. So watch out for a little bit of icing accumulations on some of the roadways and sidewalks, and maybe even a little bit of snow here later today as well. In the meantime, our temperatures in the upper 30s to low 40s in La Crosse County today. It'll be about 39 in New Albin today, just shy of 40 in Soldiers Grove, 38 today in Brownsville, heading north 36 in Arcadia, 35 in Lewiston, 36 today in St. Charles. And as we head north, we're looking at highs reaching around 35 here in the Chippewa Valley in many locations. Eau Claire today should be looking at the same high today. So let's take a look at your dog walking conditions. For the morning, we'll be looking at that rain that will continue into the afternoon. And again, some of this try to mixing here with a little bit of ice and or snow. Cloudy skies, though, as we head into this evening. Now, your bus stop forecast this morning, you might want to bring a rain poncho with you. 36 degrees with rain showers very likely to continue. And then as we take you into the afternoon on the way back, we should be looking at cloudy skies, much drier too. Temperatures at around 40 degrees. We'll take a look at your full weather forecast in just a bit.
Insulated bottles are the latest recalled item. Bindle Bottle is recalling several of its bottles over the potential risk of lead poisoning. According to the company, an area of exposed lead in the bottom storage compartment could contaminate unpackaged food. The company also says no illnesses have been reported. If you have one of these bottles, you can fill out a form on the company's website to get an at-home repair kit. Another important consumer warning, more than 1 million Halloween and autumn-themed candles are being recalled after reports of glass cracking, causing burns and cuts. The Consumer Product Safety Commission says several 14-ounce Halloween and autumn-themed candles can burn too close to the glass container. The candles are sold at Walmart stores. Consumers should immediately stop using the candles and contact the manufacturer for a full refund. Millions of Americans are struggling with a lack of childcare, and it's a threat to the economy, costing an estimated $122 billion in lost earnings, productivity, and revenues. That's more than double from 5 years ago. John Lauriston shares one town's unique plan for a solution to the crisis.
Now I'll do this one.
It's like us every morning. Do I get to go to daycare today?
Kelly Pollen's 3-year-old daughter Peyton
Can you hear it?
is one of the 48 preschoolers at the Little Sprouts Learning Center in Warren, Minnesota.
They paint and they dance and they sing and they keep them busy.
But before Peyton was even born, the daycare center in town almost shut down.
We really didn't know what we would do. We don't have any family who live here. What I have found over my experience with the daycare is that once they close, they're very hard to get back open.
We would have to move. We'd have to relocate entirely.
Lindsay Bugler's family had the same problem. The first day she joined the Little Sprouts board, there was already talk of closing because costs were high and there weren't enough workers.
There's no help out there. And so we had to go to the drawing board and figure out, okay, how can we financially make this work? What does it take to financially keep a daycare open?
Unwilling to lose families, they decided to go big, not just keeping the center open, but building a new one twice the size. Last November, they asked voters for an extra half-cent sales tax, what towns usually do to pay for things like fire stations or community centers.
Oh my gosh, it passed by 15 votes. Like, we won. A little shocked because I had made myself think that it wasn't going to pass, so that I wasn't super disappointed at the end of the night.
Not exactly a landslide out of 651 votes, but a win.
As communities across the country struggle to find daycare, what's happening in Warren could be a blueprint for other cities.
The sales tax levy that passed is very unique. That's the only city that has actually done that at this point in time.
Jessica Beyer is with First Children's Finance. It's a nonprofit that works with Warren and other communities to find money for childcare. She says both small towns and big cities need to see good, affordable childcare as the heart and soul of their futures.
The community needs to really look at childcare as an economic driver, not just a women's issue, not a parent's issue. It's an employer issue, it's a community issue.
Wow, do you need help?
A teaching moment from a small town, reaching a much wider audience.
That's it for your consumer news. Let's check in with Derek and today's forecast.
All right, thanks so much for that, Sophia. Very wet conditions continue now across the Coulee region. As we take a live look here outside in downtown La Crosse, we are looking at the very wet conditions here as mentioned. Temperatures in La Crosse are at 34 degrees here, by the way, with rain showers coming down especially hard at the airport. A feel like temperature now of 30. Visibility lowering here a bit thanks to that rain, reducing the roadway visibilities at around 4 miles. Meanwhile, you folks in Eau Claire, 31 degrees. It feels 10 degrees colder than than that, with a wind chill of 21. Visibility also slightly low at around 4 miles. And over the last 6 hours, we have seen that precipitation gradually move in, especially around the overnight hours just after midnight or so. The majority of that heavy rain is mainly focused across our southern communities. And as we move north, some of this is trying to mix in here a little bit with some ice here across portions of our central zones and also up towards our northern communities here too, such as you guys up towards Eau Claire. Also looking at some of this trying to mix in. Now, a lot of this isn't really necessarily making it down to the surface yet, but it will so as the moisture continues to move north. In the meantime, we got winter weather advisories that were issued here overnight from Pepin County through Trempealeau. This does not include La Crosse County, but it does include Monroe County and also into Adams and Juneau County. This will go until noon today because we could be looking at some ice accumulations, maybe a little bit of tracer snow and some gusty winds here as well. Meanwhile, you folks across our northern communities are looking at a winter storm warning, and this is until 6 p.m. today. And a lot of this is mainly for some higher accumulations of some ice, along with around 1 to 2 inches of snow possible, and not to mention gusty winds here as well. Now, Jackson County, you're also included under this winter storm warning, but keep in mind this will expire a little bit earlier here for you at around noon today. Now, this is all associated with this low pressure system positioned just off to the southwest. This system is forecast to track in a northeasterly trajectory, and that will allow that precipitation to continue to spread across the upper Midwest, including here in the Coulee region. As you can see here on Sky Tracker, notice all the rain still lifting towards the north as that system moves in. And again, that mixing here mainly off to the north where we can see that winter weather, while the rest of us down to the south are going to be looking at the majority of the precipitation in the rain form. And then it looks like that mixing here still occurring to the north with some embedded winter weather, while the rest of us still looking at some of that rain, but that rain here looks to decrease here in intensity. Now, going into the 2 o'clock hour, still looking at some mixing here across our northern and central communities, and the rest of us again dealing with rain. By 5 p.m. a lot of this is going to settle down though, and then as we head into the early evening hours, much drier conditions here, but we could still see a little bit of leftover of spotty mix here along with a little bit of some light rain. Now, meanwhile, ice tracker showing that we will be looking at nearly around 1/10 of an inch of ice here around the vicinity of Eau Claire. Notice how the majority of those darker colors indicate where some of that heavier ice totals will be, mainly focused to north, while the rest of us mainly across our central communities probably looking at more so around a trace of an inch of ice there. So your 8-day forecast showing that we will be looking at mostly cloudy conditions for tomorrow, high of 40, so overall much drier for Tuesday. Now we will be looking at our next system moving in Wednesday. That could give us a chance of seeing some scattered snow showers. We'll keep our eyes on that. But then the rest of this week looks mainly cloudy with highs into the 30s, warming back up though into the 40s though by Sunday and also into Monday of next week, while still remaining on the cloudy side. Stay with us. We're back with much more news and weather still to come on News 8 Now this morning. We are taking a quick break though with a look at what happened on this day in history for February 27th. We'll be right back.
Welcome to the Morning Blitz. We're days away from March, and you know what that means, madness. The only problem is the Badgers are on the fringe, a bubble team that needs all the wins they can get. But yesterday, they were in a tough environment on the road, taking on Michigan. The Wolverines also on the bubble, fighting for a spot as well. Let's go to the second half. Badgers trail by 5. Connor Sejan finds Max Klesmit beyond the arc. He finds the bottom of the net. Badgers down 2. Now we're tied. Klesmit pulls up for 3 and banks it in. The Badgers go up 3, and the bench is loving it. Now Wisconsin's down 1 with less than 30 to go, and Sejan goes to the hoop, gets the shot to fall. Wisconsin up 1, now up 3. Michigan hoping for a miracle. Hunter Dickinson from way deep and somehow gets it to fall. We're all tied. This game is going to overtime, and in overtime, it was all Michigan. They outscored Wisconsin 19-11, and the Badgers fall in a much-needed game. The Badgers are now 8-10 in conference play, and with just 2 games left, their odds of making it into March Madness is very slim. All right, switching gears to the NBA, the Bucks are still riding their big win streak, and they were looking for win number 14 in a row yesterday as they hosted the Phoenix Suns at Pfizer Forum. All right, Giannis ruled out in this game. Suns still without Kevin Durant, but you know who stepped up big yesterday? Drew Holiday, already making plays just seconds into the game. First quarter, Bucks trail, but Holiday says it doesn't matter that it's Sunday. The bank is open, Milwaukee on top. Second quarter, Bucks up 2. Holiday backing down Chris Paul, makes the turn to the hoop and gets it to fall to extend Milwaukee's lead. All right, jumping to the fourth quarter, Lopez setting the screen, Holiday pulling up from 3, money. And then again, Lopez setting the screen, but this time, Grayson Allen's gonna find the big man wide open from beyond the arc. He's not afraid to shoot it. That's good, Bucks trail by just 2. But the Suns would stay out in front. Paul throws it up to DeAndre Ayton. That's too easy for him. Bud calls a timeout as Milwaukee goes back down 8. And that timeout is exactly what they needed. The former Sun himself, Jay Crowder, wide open in the corner. Nothing but net. Bucks down 3, now down 2. Joe Ingles driving, finds Drew Holiday under the basket. The layup's good. We're all tied at 96. And then still tied with 30 seconds to go, Middleton passes to Lopez. He goes off the glass. That gives the Bucks the lead. Suns had one last chance, but Booker would turn it over. Milwaukee gets the win, 104-101, a win that means a little more to a new member of the team.
Obviously, I just want to get the win. I didn't care how I played individually. I told the guys that. I just want to get the win. I felt like it was just a pivotal win for just for my mental, just moving forward.
All right, well, that's win number 14 in a row. Holiday led the way with 33 points. Brook Lopez added 22. Next up for Milwaukee, Tuesday on the road against the Nets. That'll do it for the Blitz. See you tonight.
Dozens of migrants drowned and more were missing after their crowded wooden boat crashed into the rocky reefs off the southern coast of Italy. Officials fear the death toll could surpass 100. At least 80 people were found alive. The migrants, who were said to be mostly from Afghanistan as well as Iran and Pakistan, were making the dangerous trip from Turkey. The first black woman to hold the position of U.S. Deputy Secretary of Agriculture plans to resign. Jewel Bronaugh has served as the number 2 at the USDA for 2 years. She led the agency's efforts to diversify its workforces and help farmers of color. During her time, there has been a slight uptick in the number of employees of color working for the USDA. Data shows around 11% of the workforce is of color. She says she is resigning to spend more time with her family. Heart Health Month is almost over, but heart disease is still a leading cause of death in women. While it is common perception that mainly men are affected, women experience it too, and many of the symptoms are similar. Some of those symptoms include a tight chest and shortness of breath. One UW Health cardiologist says that many women ignore those symptoms.
Most common I hear on patients who are coming to the emergency room, they say, I thought it was a heartburn, or I thought it was an indigestion, or I thought it was just a muscle ache.
Last year, over 3,000 women visited the UW Health emergency departments for chest pain. Heart disease isn't the only disease that is affecting women. Lupus is an autoimmune condition that affects nearly 1.3 million American women. Women with lupus are often told they can't start a family until now.
We can get you a spoon.
4 walls and a roof may be the foundation of a house.
I require milk. Okay.
But it's not a home without a mother's love.
You gonna get a good grade?
For Nicole Chetta, it's paved with loss.
My husband and I wanted to have children, and I suffered 2 miscarriages. I felt a lot of guilt because we knew that it most likely had to do with my lupus being active.
At 17, Nicole was diagnosed with this autoimmune disease.
I was working outside all day long, and I developed a rash across my nose and cheeks.
At its worst, this chronic illness isn't forgiving.
This immune system attacking just about any tissue in our body.
So you can imagine how difficult it is to live with.
My 2 biggest issues are a clotting disorder that I've developed, and also my kidneys are being attacked, and I'm at stage 2 kidney disease right now.
Nicole's not the only one. 90% of patients who hear this diagnosis from their doctor are women.
So what are you working on in gymnastics tonight?
Many of them
leg day?
looking to start a family.
Yeah? You know, what I thought was a whole plan figured out for my life, it was really pretty devastating to know that I couldn't do those things, and if I did, I was going to get sick and sicker.
Researchers don't completely understand lupus, but one local group is looking to change that.
Primary care providers could learn something, a patient could learn something, people's sort of family could learn something about these challenges.
The local Lupus Alliance donated $25,000 to the American College of Rheumatology. Their goal?
Noelle is 33 years old and has lupus.
Create educational videos for women with lupus that want to get pregnant.
So we had a patient representative from the local area, we had a scientist from the local area, and then we also hired a graphic design company to create these videos from the local area to try to keep as much of this money in the local area as possible.
For women like Nicole, each video is a symbol of hope.
My son Liam was born, you know, it was the greatest feeling ever, but I felt like I had kind of beat lupus. So at least for a little bit.
It's a reminder that building a family is possible.
Even with having lupus, I could not be more blessed. I have the family that I always wanted.
Reporting in Holman, the Westrar, News 8 Now.
You can find those educational videos on the local Lupus Alliance's YouTube page. Over 36 million people suffer from migraines and headaches every year. UW Health is looking to help with its new headache medicine fellowship program by partnering up with the University of Illinois with a one-year fellowship that will allow providers and specialists in the program to learn about treatment options, including medications, Botox. One UW Health expert says that a lot of people who are heavily affected by migraines often feel neglected.
To be able to provide a program that trains individuals with that compassionate caring is critically important to healthcare in our region.
It's available for physicians in any specialty who may treat headaches. UW Health hopes this program will bring more helpers into the workforce. Sometimes love can be found in the strangest of places. For one Wisconsin couple, it happened to be in the line at a Racine McDonald's 27 years ago. 27 years ago, Mark pulled into the parking lot at a McDonald's just off of Green Bay Road in Racine. Little did he know the decision would change his life. That's where he met his now wife, Cindy.
She said hi to me and she smiled. And when she smiled, I was like, man, wow. She is beautiful.
Way too kind.
No, I mean, I was like, stricken, man. She was beautiful.
The two grabbed their respective orders and went on their way until the two turned around and decided to exchange phone numbers. Cindy even kept the notepad. And every year since, on February 9th, she's had a date at noon at the same restaurant with her McDonald's guy.
We never said anything to each other. We just always showed up. At noon at this McDonald's. Well, there were years I was like, oh, he better show up if he forgets. And
no, we never have,
without
though.
fail, we've
We've always just both shown up and had lunch without even reminding each other anything.
The chance encounter has led to more than just an annual lunch date. Cindy and Mark married in 1999 and now have 3 kids and 2 grandchildren to share their story with. When McDonald's heard their story, they treated them to a special dinner to celebrate. And last week's storm forced snow days for students in the Madison Metropolitan School District because of last week's storm. And already there were plans to add days at the end of the year to make up for this winter's weather. Catherine Merck shares what the school district plans are now.
For the second day in a row, the school grounds remain mostly silent for MMSD. The roads around them also mostly clear. So why is school out today?
It's really easy the day of the weather event to look out the window and say, well, we shouldn't have closed school this day.
MMSD spokesperson Tim Lamont says the district errs on the side of caution when deciding to cancel school. There's a lot of factors to consider, like the ease of staffing and student commute.
So when we get these icy conditions, we really listen to our transportation providers on what's best and what's safest for our students' transport.
The district has already had to add a day back to the school calendar that originally was a day off because of this season's storms. At the end of the school year, the district says it's looking at the best options to get those days in. And some of those options might sound familiar.
Moving forward, now it gets a little bit more complex. And so what you might see is the school district start to consider switching to a virtual option.
Since this most recent storm has passed, the kids get to enjoy a small break for these next few days. But for the district, they're hoping this is the last time these decisions have to be made this year.
We're just crossing our fingers that this is the last of the wintry weather that we'll have this year.
Tim Lemon says that the announcement about what exactly the district is going to do to make up those days will come sometime next week.
Well, we have seen quite a bit of some wet conditions here so far this morning. Our current conditions in La Crosse are at 34 degrees. East-northeast winds at around 5 miles an hour here to work with. Now, the rain is expected to continue to come down through at least the mid-morning hour. And then after that, we will be looking at some of that, try to mix in here at times, especially towards the north here as well, before we are looking at cloudy skies to end the day. Our high temperatures this afternoon will be rising to about 41 degrees with rain showers likely, combination of ice and snow mainly to the north here too, and north-northwest winds at around 10 to 20 miles an hour. For tonight, we drop down to 25 degrees, cloudy skies early and then clearing here later at night with winds out of the west-northwest 10 to 15 miles an hour. Drivecast conditions this morning, very wet out there. Take it slow on your morning commute. We'll say the same thing here as we head towards the mid-commute with rain showers, and again that rain-snow mix here mainly to the north along with icy conditions. This evening though, everybody's going to be looking much drier, but cloudy skies overhead will remain. We'll take a look at this in the full weather forecast coming up a little bit later. Also coming up in our Buzz Report, James Corden prepares for a star-studded send-off from CBS's Late Show. Stay with us. We'll be right back. Well, good morning, everyone, and welcome back. We are definitely looking at a pretty wet start here this morning so far for that morning commute, so brace yourselves for some wet roadways and even a little bit of ice here, mainly to the north. We'll get to that in a second. 34 degrees here in La Crosse. Feel like temperatures at 30 degrees. Visibility is dropping here just a tad at around 4 miles thanks to that heavy rain that continues to move north. Meanwhile, you folks in Eau Claire, 31 degrees, a feel like temperature of 23 degrees. Conditions for the most part are looking clear, but looking a little bit wet and icy now here on some of those roadways and sidewalks. 4 mile visibilities here now in your neck of the woods. Now we are watching over the last 6 hours the precipitation that continues to move towards the north. It really started here overnight and now really coming in here across the area as we progress throughout the morning. Most of the heavier rain was mainly focused down to the south around the vicinity of Mount Sterling and into Viroqua and also southern La Crosse County here especially, but it does look like some of this is beginning to mix though the further north you go as temperatures continue to drop. Meanwhile, across our northern communities such as Eau Claire, still looking at some of those precipitation mixes here in the form of mainly freezing rain and ice that continues to drift its way towards the north. We have winter weather advisories that are currently in effect anywhere that you see highlighted in blue from Pepin County east into Trempealeau County. This does not include La Crosse County though. Monroe County into Adams and Juneau County, you're under this winter weather advisory until noon today. Meanwhile, across our northern zones, we are looking at winter storm warnings in effect until 6 p.m. and that's because here we're looking at a combination of both snow and ice here accumulations as well. For you folks in Jackson County, you're also under this winter storm warning, but this is going to expire a little bit earlier here for you today at around noon this afternoon. So as we widen out the view, you can see that we are still dealing with this low pressure system positioned just off to our southwest, and that's spawning a lot of rain showers and also snow showers and a combination of mix here across the upper Midwest. There was some severe weather here associated with this system yesterday across the south central plains, but it's moved east now. So now we're looking at rain and storms here on the south end of the system that we're going to continue to monitor. But as for us, we're dealing with a combination of rain and winter mix. The rain will continue to move in from the south and affect the majority of us, but across our northern counties, we're going to be dealing with that snow and or ice here across the area this morning. By around 9 o'clock, it's still going to continue here for much of the area. Same spots dealing with the snow and rain to the north and ice. Meanwhile, us here across our southern and central communities mainly still dealing with rain. By noon, we start to see this taper here a little bit, but across our northern communities, still dealing with some heavy rain and a little bit of ice and freezing rain here as well. This will really continue through at least the early afternoon hours. This explains why that winter storm warning is going to go until 6, because we're still dealing with a lot of that messy weather here to the north through at least those late afternoon to early evening hours. Now, as we head towards 8 o'clock, I do expect gradual improvement here. In fact, we're going to be much drier here across portions of the area, and we can say the same thing here as we head into tonight. Now, Ice Tracker showing that we will be looking at nearly 1/10 of an inch of ice that could be picked up in Eau Claire here throughout the day today, and you can see the majority of the ice accumulation contours are mainly focused well to the north, while the rest of us probably won't see a whole lot, maybe a trace if anything. Same can be said for snow. The majority of the snow will be mainly to the north, around 1 to 2 inches, locally higher totals. The rest of us mainly dealing with around a trace of snow, if not less. Here's a check now on your 8-day forecast. Much drier conditions for tomorrow, high of 40. Chance of snow showers for Wednesday from our next system moving through. Looking at cloudy skies throughout the rest of this week, also heading into the weekend and early next week, highs into the 30s and 40s, lows in the teens and 20s.
James Corden is preparing to sign off from The Late Late Show in a big way. CBS is giving him a 1-hour primetime special ahead of his final broadcast on April 27th. It will include a Lion King musical performance featuring actor Tom Cruise, who is playing the warthog, Pumbaa. Him and more stars are expected to join in on the fun.
Vega wasn't alone. Why aren't we looking at 2 fatalities?
This could be why. It was used to way down on the gas pedal.
NCIS airs its 450th episode tonight on CBS. The team investigates the death of a rideshare driver found dead after a car accident. NCIS debuted nearly 20 years ago. And actor Brian Dyson, who plays Dr. Jimmy Palmer, has been there for all of it. I know you mentioned Criminal Minds fan. How about like CSI Miami? Did you ever get into that?
Man, you know, I watched a little bit of it, but not as much as Criminal Minds, though. I'm a big
I
Criminal
loved
Minds.
CSI Miami.
Okay,
That's
yeah.
what I originally went to school to be because I loved the show so much.
Okay.
And then it was nothing that I was really passionate about.
Right. Maybe not as much as journalism, I
Right.
guess. Right? Yeah, exactly.
Before we head to break, it's time to look at today's Look Who's 8.
That's right. We're going to start off with Xavier, who is turning 8 today. Now, Xavier is full of adventure and loves playing Minecraft and Roblox.
And happy 8th birthday to Azel. Azel is a Vikings fan, loves riding horses, and loves dinosaurs.
Happy 18th birthday to Christian. Christine loves to hunt and fish, and she can't wait to graduate this May.
And happy 88th birthday to Bud. Bud is enjoying his retirement on his farm, playing a good game of cards and going out on drives.
Well, if you know a special someone that's turning 8 months, 8 years, 18, 80, or 88 years old soon, we love to feature them. So just upload their photo to our website, news8000.com, and look for that Submit Pictures button under the Home tab on our website.
Stay with us. We have everything you need to know today in 5 minutes or less. Your Morning News Now is up next. Heart Health Month is almost over, but heart disease is still a leading cause of death in women. While it is a common perception that mainly men are affected, women experience it too, and many of the symptoms are similar. Some of those symptoms include a tight chest and shortness of breath. One UW health cardiologist says that many women ignore those symptoms.
Most common I hear on patients who are coming to the emergency room, they say, I thought it was a heartburn, or I thought it was an indigestion, or I thought it was just a muscle ache.
Last year, over 3,000 women visited the UW Health emergency departments for chest pain. Losing a loved one is never easy, and being unprepared can make that even harder. To help the Good Shepherd Lutheran Church, is hosting its Before the After event on March 6th from 10 a.m. until noon. There, people will help you prepare obituaries, power of attorney, and wills. Residents of Wisconsin, Minnesota, and Iowa can attend, but registration is required. You can find a link to their website at news8000.com. And 24 years of fun, the Children's Museum of La Crosse celebrated their birthday with a party Saturday. Kids from ages 1 to 12 and their parents got to celebrate with hands-on fun, crafts, and a free concert. The museum has been around for a while, and organizers say things have changed over the years. That helps keep it fresh for families.
We try and evolve some things, but not make too many drastic changes. We try and really be intentional in the investments that we're making in the exhibits.
If you are interested in stopping by the museum, it is open from 9 to 5, Tuesday through Sunday. And 28 talented fifth graders got the chance to hang up their artwork at the local vineyard on Saturday. The artists themselves got to pay their artwork a visit. This creative group of fifth graders are from Prairie View Elementary School. For the past couple months, they have been working on creating original animal pieces using colored pencil and paint. One fifth grader said she chose her animal after seeing it in a wild animal themed calendar.
My art piece is a lynx, and it's just made out of plain tempera paint and colored pencils. I'm really happy because I love when people see what I do.
And the Prairie View art teacher, Amy Wank, says she couldn't be more proud of her students.
This is just a great place to display student work. So many people come to El Morro every week to enjoy the atmosphere and to have their artwork on display here. All these people admiring it. It's such an honor for these kids to have their work on display at a place like this.
La Crosse School District Superintendent Aaron Engel and Biz News publisher Vicki Markinson will talk about enrollment, budget issues, and community relations in a public conversation this week. That program runs from 7 to 8 p.m. at the Lunda Center at Western Technical College. Anyone in the public can attend, or you can join virtually. We have more information about the event on news8000.com.
And as you head out the door this morning, keep in mind we're watching the rain that continues to move in from the south. Some of that rain turning to a combination of ice and snow, mainly off to the north, though. The rest of us, of course, still will be dealing with rain. And then after that, later this afternoon, looking at cloudy skies, drier conditions, temperatures into the upper 30s to low 40s for our highs today. Now, as we take you into the day tomorrow, well, we're looking much drier. Cloudy skies will continue, though, high of 40. Watching for a chance of snow showers on Wednesday from our next system that could move in. After that, throughout the rest of the week, skies looking mostly cloudy still. Temperatures into the upper 30s to low 40s and lows into the teens and 20s.
Kind of gloomy this week.
It is a little bit gloomy,
no sun.
Yeah. Not really a whole lot of sun, unfortunately, to deal with. And yeah, it's going to be a little bit messy here this morning, especially north.
I know. I was running out of my house this morning with my dress, and I'm like, it can't get wet.
I know. My suit was all getting wet. Luckily, I had a raincoat over me, so it kept the majority of my clothes dry.
And see, I would much prefer snow
I know.
over rain.
I think a lot of us would. But it's a little bit of a break from what we just had last week with that major winter storm, though.
Thanks, Derek.
Yep.
And thank you for watching News 8 Now. Don't forget to keep up with the news of the day on news8000.com, and we'll have the latest updates to today's top stories on News 8 Now at noon. Have a great day. Thank you for watching News 8, and we'll catch y'all later.